solemnly swear that you will faithfully perform the duties pertaining to the office of Governor of North Carolina, to which you have been elected. So help you God.
The North Carolina Association of Broadcasters proudly presents Passing the Torch, the inauguration of Jim Martin.
Good morning. I'm Bill Leslie. The weatherman was right. The rain has stopped. The clouds have cleared. It's breezy but bright and beautiful in downtown Raleigh this morning, where in about an hour, a new North Carolina governor will be inaugurated. 48-year-old James Grubbs Martin will become only the second Republican governor of North Carolina this century. The first was Jim Holzhauser, a mild-mannered mountain man who moved into the governor's mansion in 1973. The governor who followed Holzhauser is the governor Martin will follow. James Baxter Hunt is the first governor to serve 2 consecutive terms. Later today, Hunt will be moving his family to the Wilson County farm at Rock Ridge. He says he looks forward to private citizenship, not having to live in a fishbowl. Martin comes to Raleigh after serving 6 terms in the U.S. House. And since he is no longer a congressman and not quite yet a governor, we could refer to him this morning as Dr. Martin. Jim Martin has a Ph.D. in chemistry, a subject he taught at Davidson College before he was elected to Congress in 1972. Joining me for the coverage of Jim Martin's inauguration are reporters Ken Murphy, Stella Sheldon, and Larry Stockner. First, let's go to Stella at the Archives building.
And it's a good thing to say that the cold weather has not dampened the enthusiasm of the thousands that have turned out to see the inauguration of our next governor. It is cold, but they've brought along their lap robes, they've brought their heavy coats, they've brought their hats, and even though the inauguration ceremony itself is still several minutes away, the place is jam-packed with people from Murphy all the way to Manteo. And they're even walking in front of the cameras here today. But it's an enthusiastic crowd. Behind me, you can see the podium where the swearing-in will take place. Seated on that podium will be the governor, the next governor, the lieutenant governor, the next lieutenant governor, the Council of State, and also the Supreme Court justices who will swear them in. It's a wonderful day here. The weather has cooperated. It's a little chilly but sunny. A lot's going on. We're going over to another location now where Ken Murphy's standing by. Ken, what's happening in your area?
Thank you, Stella. As you can see, the crowd is here as well. The security this morning is what we might call firm but friendly. Already the crowd has been asked to back off the sidewalk a couple of times, but everyone seems to be in a festive mood despite the rather traditional frigid weather on Inauguration Day here in the capital city of Raleigh. We have, as you said, literally people here from the mountains to the seacoast. In some cases, they've come to see their man go in, and in other cases, they've just come to see what's going on. It not only is a big event, it is also a big media event. Just from our vantage point here, where we're covering in front of the building of history, popularly known as the Archives building, we have 5 different cameras in addition to all of our reporters. You may be able to see behind me there are media here also from other sections of the state. We have 12 stations who have contributed not only personnel but equipment to our effort in covering this event this morning, and some 14 stations are carrying what we will have for you in the next hour and a half. So as we said, it not only is a big event, it is something of a media event, and literally millions of people will be able to see this across the state of North Carolina this morning. At 12 noon, the inaugural party led by Governor Hunt and his wife will make their way from the Executive Mansion, which is just around the corner from where I'm standing, down here to the Archives building where the actual swearing-in ceremonies will take place. Right now we're going to go over to the governor's mansion where Larry Stockner is standing by. Larry?
Thank you. I'm Larry Stockner at the Governor's Mansion, and it is cold and windy over here. We're here at the Governor's Mansion on the 700 block of Blunt Street, that beautiful old building that has been the home of Governor Jim Hunt for the last 8 years and what will be the home of Governor-elect Jim Martin for at least the next 4 years. What the Governor's Mansion serves as on Inauguration Day basically is as a staging area for all the events that are about to go on, all the swearing-in ceremonies. In just a few minutes here, you're going to see a lot of people lining up, all the Council of State members, the Supreme Court justices, and so forth. And they will be led down this paved driveway just a short block across the street to the Archives building on Jones Street, and all the ceremonies will start. That procession will get underway in just a few minutes. The inaugural ceremony is rich in history. A lot of famous names stick out: Vance, Aycock, Scott, Sanford, Moore, Hodges, Holzhauser, Hunt. These names are just a few in North Carolina's inaugural history, which dates back to the opening of Tryon Palace in New Bern. Fred Taylor's been digging around in the history books and has more on the North Carolina inauguration.
After more than 2 centuries, Tryon Palace in New Bern still displays its beauty and stately elegance as the home of North Carolina's early governors, built by Governor William Tryon before North Carolina gained her independence. Tryon Palace is also remembered as the spot for the inauguration of the first governor as an independent state. Richard Caswell served as the state's first governor from 1776 to 1780, then won another term from 1784 to 1787. We elect the governor by popular vote, but it wasn't always done this way. For example, in this room, the state legislature would meet and select governors for a system that lasted 60 years. In 1836, the system changed to popular election by the people. The first statewide vote elected Edward Dudley from New Hanover County. Soon, the state capitol became the official center of inauguration activities for newly elected governors. Then the Civil War. This yearly reenactment in Bentonville observes North Carolina's role in the war between the states. Once inaugurated, Governor Zebulon Vance faced many wartime problems. He even spent time in a federal prison at the end of the war. When released, his popularity with the voters won Vance another term as governor in 1876 and another inauguration. The governor's mansion has played a key role in inaugural festivities for almost a century. The governor's mansion was rebuilt after a fire just in time for the inauguration of Daniel Fowle in 1888. Fowle was the first governor to live in the new mansion and the only governor to die in the mansion. Much has been written about inauguration of 20th century governors. Thad Ure's memories are rare gems. Thad Ure was a young man when he began his long stint as North Carolina Secretary of State in 1936. Although involved in more consecutive inaugurations than any other state official, Ure recalls the inauguration of Clyde Huey in 1937 as the ceremony he'll always remember.
He looked more like a governor and like a statesman, you know, with his dress brought that about. But I admired him so much.
It was Luther Hodges who broke with tradition on his inauguration in 1956.
Of course, back in those days, all the governors, as they'd go out, and when new ones come in, and they'd stand on that front porch around the mansion with high top hats, and they kept that through the years until Governor Hodges came in, and Governor Hodges wore a Hamburg instead of a high top.
Hodges broke another tradition as the first governor in the 20th century to serve longer than 4 years. 2 years completing the term of Governor William Umstead, who died in office, then winning re-election to a full 4-year term. The inauguration of Jim Holshouser in 1973 broke another long-standing tradition. Holshouser became the first Republican governor in the 20th century. Holshouser handed the reins of the governor's office to Jim Hunt in 1977. Hunt embarked on a campaign that would alter the course of history. Hunt won a change in the state constitution that resulted in his re-election. And the second inauguration in 1981, and a place in the history books as the first governor to serve 8 consecutive years. The end of the Hunt administration may be the beginning of a modern-day trend in which every inauguration may not always mean a new governor. This is Fred Taylor in Raleigh.
While we recovered from the rain we had yesterday, that was not the case back in 1876. Inauguration Day then, the swearing-in ceremonies for Governor Zebulon Vance had to be moved inside Tucker Hall because of a heavy snowstorm. Then there was snowback on January the 8th, which fell on a Monday. That was Governor Jim Holshouser's first day of work. And if you were here for the inauguration of Governor Hunt back in 1977, you may remember that the new Fayetteville Street Mall was more mud than magic because of all the rain. The theme that year was a new beginning for North Carolina. Hunt was sworn in as North Carolina's 64th governor by popular vote. Now, in order to make sure that today's ceremonies go smoothly, there's, of course, a lot of pre-planning, hundreds of hours of work on details, a lot of invitations to be sent out. We're going to check back in with Stella Shelton, who is standing by with someone who knows about the king-size job of putting together an inauguration. Stella?
He knows indeed, and I'm surprised his hair is not gray at this time. This is David Guth. He's the press coordinator for the inaugural ceremony. And David, I'm kind of curious, if you've got any estimation of the number of man-hours that have gone into this event?
Well, that's thousands and thousands. I just have to estimate like that. We've had about 24 paid staff, about 100 volunteers, and then many other volunteers outside of the inner circle of volunteers working on this. It's a big logistical operation to get all these people together at one place at one time.
And how long ago did you start planning for it?
Right after the election. The inaugural committee is set up by state statute, and once they got together for the first time and started assuming a staff around mid-November, the real wheels of getting this day prepared for began.
Any idea what the size of this crowd is?
Well, I'm not a very good crowd guesser. We know we have 6,000 permanent seats in the area, and we have a lot of people standing on the sides, so it's between 8 and 10, I would guess.
Well, that's David Guth. He is the press coordinator for the inaugural committee. As most Martin spokespeople would tell you, this is an event for the public, not only for the volunteers that stuffed the envelopes and knocked on doors and got Jim Martin into the governor's mansion on this day. It is for all of North Carolina. And it did involve a lot of work, as David just told us, and it also involved a lot of paperwork, as we see in this report.
Inaugural committee, may I help you?
Since mid-November, the phone has been ringing almost continuously at the inauguration office. A paid staff of 24 people and 80 volunteers have been responsible for every detail of the 2.5-hour ceremony. 120,000 invitations have been sent out. Past inaugurations have been viewed repeatedly, and the inaugural site and parade routes have been meticulously laid out on blueprints.
This is the biggest endeavor, the biggest undertaking any administration will ever handle, and that is the inauguration, because it involves every single aspect of state government.
Over at the State Archives building, work crews from the Highway Department have been setting up the inaugural stand. The color, battleship gray, has been a standard on Inauguration Day for more than 25 years. Many of the pieces in the inaugural platform have been used before. Some go back as many as 6 inaugurations. When it's over, much of this platform will be put in storage. What isn't stored will be used by the State Highway Department. Newly built for this inauguration is a band shell for the Charlotte Symphony. Governor-elect Martin once played tuba for the group. The shell will be heated on Inauguration Day. How many inaugurations have you done?
Well, since I've been supervisor, this is my 3rd one I've been in charge of this type work.
Is this more work or less work than the other ones?
Well, it's just some change. All of them have different, sometimes they have different areas where they have the platform, but this time we've done a little bit more.
The cost of the inauguration is $51,000. Well, that's what the legislature provides. Private donations to fund many of the events were sought for this inauguration, and the final tally will be considerably higher. Inauguration staffers say they hope the legislature will be a little more generous next time around. This is David Haynes in Raleigh.
That's right. Governor-elect Martin is seeking $150,000 from the business community to supplement that $50,000 that comes from the legislature. The Inauguration and Transition Committee has mailed out some 300 letters to business executives asking them to come up with some additional money. Martin says this might help to keep the cost to the public down, especially for tonight's inaugural festivities at the Raleigh Civic Center. Long before this weekend's festivities were underway, of course, there had to be a smooth transition between the Hunt and Martin teams. And as we see in this report, there is really a couple of months between Election Day and Inauguration Day.
We've heard a lot in the past few weeks about the governor-elect's transition team. Well, this unmarked office on the 4th floor of the Legislative Office Building here in Raleigh is where they operate. And we came here to find out, what is a transition team? Where do they come from? Who selects them?
The ones named by the governor were Jack Hawk, Jim Lofton, Joe Martin, and myself. The transition process, believe it or not, started 6 to 9 months ago when I started writing memos to then candidate Martin, outlining some of my suggestions in case he did get elected.
We had an awful lot of mail around Christmas time especially. It's slowing down a little bit this week. And most of the mail has been job recommendations and job applications. And that's been the bulk of it.
Well, we separate them and we answer the recommendations. We